live stream back up and running on a Saturday night at 9 p.m. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're coming. I'm glad you're signing up. We're going to have a great live stream tonight. Some good groove. This isn't even AI, or maybe it is. I don't know. But it's a great groove either way. Hope everybody's well. We're just a few days away from the big day, Christmas, and tonight we're going to be getting into some conspiracy theories because it's that time again. Now, it's not really that we're going into Christmas conspiracies, just conspiracies. And really, we'll make them up as we go. If we don't like the conspiracy we're talking about, we'll just make one up. It's fine. This is the type of YouTube channel where you can just make it up. It doesn't have to be a real conspiracy. It could just be, a made-up conspiracy. We'll make them up. That's exactly right. What's up, B. Johnson in the house? Hello. Randall Boston in the house. Yo, yo, yo. I'm about to say yeah. Big Frog is in the house. Let's go. Okay, that tree topper. Big Frog, you get the award for noticing it first. That's the tree topper that just screams out Illuminati. I don't know. Illuminatus, the individual, enlightened individual, the Illuminatus. That's right. Me Now says hello. Hello, Me Now. Good to see you. Welcome to Nose for Life live stream edition, and it's always good to see you guys. I'm really excited about tonight because we're going to talk about conspiracies, and feel free to bring your own conspiracies to the forum, because that's what the holidays are all about. It's about exchanging ideas. It's about exchanging gifts, but the gift that keeps on giving. I'm about to sneeze. The gift. Well, you heard it first here. The sneeze. The gift that keeps on giving. The conspiracy theory. I think YouTube was bought and paid for by conspiracy theories, not conspiracies. Conspiracy theories. That's right. So we're going to kick it off. I wanted to come up with a conspiracy about nutcrackers. Just make something up, and I couldn't think of anything. I mean, the more I thought about it, the more difficult it became to go, okay, how do you come up with a conspiracy about a nutcracker that isn't already covered in the Nutcracker ballet? Papa Drosselmeyer and bringing this magical nutcracker doll. I mean, who thinks of that? I mean, really, it takes a Russian, a very cold Russian. It's Bill, the Opryland guy. Bill. We need his theme song. Somebody get AI a hold of that. Bill, the Opryland guy. I'll wear that with pride. You can use my face for the cover. That's fine with me. Use my face for the cover. Just superimpose like a different body type. Taller, thinner, more muscular, less whatever this is going on right now. That's what I'm saying. Welcome. By the way, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button while you're here. You might as well. What else have you got to do right now? Am I lying? I mean, you're right here. You're enjoying the live stream. But, you're just kind of sitting there listening and typing and, I don't know, whatever else you're doing, watching the game, which isn't much of a game. JMU, my former adopted school, is getting thrashed by Oregon right now. It's kind of embarrassing, actually. But hey, what can you do? JMU, they're new to the dance, and so they're getting their comeuppance. They're taking their whipping because they're going to be good later. Let's just hope that. I don't know. I would like to see JMU, smaller schools that don't have as much of a tradition, get just a little bit of spotlight every now and then. Is that so much to ask? I don't think so. It'd be nice if they put up a little more of a fight. TCU did a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever that was, when TCU was relevant. So yeah, the Masons. All right, so listen, you can't get your feelings hurt, because there are millions of people that if they knew everything that we're talking about on this channel, they would be offended for elves. You know it, and I know it. Somebody would say, who's going to take up for the elves? Who's going to take up for the Ewoks? And people have probably signed in, loyal subscribers who signed in while we're talking about eating Ewoks and elves, and probably took 5 minutes and said, you know what? This isn't for me. I thought Bill was a different kind of guy. I thought he was a nature guy. And I'm like, I am. That's why I'm talking about eating Ewoks. It'd be different if I was just like, I don't know, eating nuts and berries. That's weird. But no, I'm talking about eating meat, right? But you know how people are. They didn't get it, so they probably signed off. They said, I don't want to be a part of, because I've lost 3 subscribers this month. And the only thing I can think of is they were They were Ewok lovers and, elf lovers. And so we forgive them, right? We let them go. And then maybe when I have a good hit banger out, they will subscribe again someday. Who knows? Who cares, right? Because I'm all about the mission in front of me, which is entertaining the greatest group of men and occasionally women in the world, and that's you guys. It's Ewok and elf sympathizers is what it is, and we have patience with them. We have patience with them. We really do. You can basically use every part of an Ewok. There's a little goes to waste. I'm not all into Ewok noses. Let me just say this. I wasn't going to get into this tonight. I'm not going to get into the parts you can and can't eat of an Ewok. I'm just saying I'm about sticking to the basics. Muscular, structural. Cartilage isn't for me. Just cartilage in general. It's a texture thing. I don't know. It's a texture thing. I know you could eat the cheek because there's muscles through the cheek. Maybe that's good. I might have tried that once, and it's okay. But I'm not going to go through all that if I'm hunting Ewok. Anyway, I digress. The point is tonight I want to talk about the Masons. And here's why. Nobody says gift-giving conspiracy better than the Masons. And they're everywhere. If you go into the middle of mountain towns all through the Appalachian Mountains, you will find buildings constructed for and attended by Masons. They're still a thing. They're still a thing. And so I'm just saying, can we not give a shout out to the OGs of conspiracies, the Masons? Can we not talk about this? And again, you can't get offended. This is just what we do here. We just talk about truth. That's all. And I'm not even going to get into the conspiracy side. I'll figure I'll let you guys do that. Walter Langston. Good to see you, Walter Langston. Wild and wonderful Walter Langston. It's the elf that turned people away. It is. It's right. I know, right? Me now said, I was a Mason once, but the blacks were so heavy, they hurt my back to carry them. Oh, Lord. I don't even know what that means. That's deep. That's deep. The blocks, not the blacks. Sorry, it's the eyes. We've talked about this, the glasses, but either way, that works. Walter Langston says most of the towns around here have been built by the Masons. I don't doubt that in West Virginia. West Virginia, I saw a lot of Masonic imagery, Masonic buildings, shrines to the Masons. The biggest shrine I ever saw to the Masons was in D.C. There's like this mega structure, like huge Masonic symbol there. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? Come on, people. Of course, they built half of D.C., so come on. Or their people did, I don't know, their lobbyist, maybe. Maybe it's their lobbyist. I'm not sure. So yeah, the Masons. Are they really global conspirators or just your Uncle Bob and his secret drinking buddies or something? I want you guys to help me with this. Are the Masons legit? Can we really trust the nation's secret, the world's secret, mind you, all the world's secrets? Can we trust them to the Masons? That's what I'm asking you tonight. I do not want to try Rocky Mountain Elf or Ewok oysters. Well, suit yourself, but Rocky Mountain Elf is good. I've had it. Now, Ewok oysters, you can have it. Rocky Mountain Elf, it's not so bad. Not so bad. Ewok oysters, no. No, thank you. No, thank you. Smurf, that's all I'm saying. Blue meat is not on the menu. I'm sorry, I cannot do blue meat. I like their music, though. I like their blue meat. I mean, if you say medium rare, I mean, is that like a blueberry thing going on in your plate? The juice and stuff? Ugh. Just can't go for that. I don't know. If you served a little bit of Smurf with a little bit of beef, they're both medium rare, and you get that red and blue going on together in the plate. That might be nice. That might be nice. Smurf's not a bad idea. But then again, we're getting away from a holiday tradition of eating fowl. So I'm thinking, like, have you guys ever had like batter dipped hummingbirds? I'm just saying. I want to throw that one out there. Batter dipped hummingbirds. It's small. You have to get like a dozen or whatever. And it's not a dinner thing. It's more like a nice, like, hors d'oeuvres, but you have a party specifically for the hors d'oeuvres. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, come over tonight. We're going to sing Christmas carols and have hummingbird. Oh, you're having hummingbird. Oh, okay. Because it's not something you're going to go out of your way for. It's not rare, but you kind of have to deal with some things there because they're hard to clean, all that stuff. Big Frog Barbecue says, is the Blue Man Group just tall Smurfs? It's possible. It's possible. Smurfs that have gone through puberty, we'll say. Walter Langston says, hummingbird moves so fast, too fast to catch. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what makes it kind of fun, though. Because here's the thing. You have to store them. Because most of the time, hummingbirds are out in the early summer. So I'm thinking, like, you've got to catch them. You got to freeze them. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. A dozen, you need a TRA dozen. Okay. You need a dozen. So yeah, nobody's going to jump into this Mason conspiracy because you guys are chickens, probably. Chickens. How is Papa Smurf a papa if he had no kids? Because that papa was a Rolling Stone. No? I don't know. Papa Schlumpf. In Germany, they were called Schlumpf. I had a Schlumpf from Germany. Bought it in Bootsbach, or mom and dad bought it. I was a kid. I was a wee lad. And Smurfs were called Schlumpf. And it was a big thing there. And little did I know that like 5 years later, there'd be a big thing on NBC. Saturday morning television. So I had this thing from a local Greek restaurant tonight. Not Smurf and not Elf or Ewok. It was a sausage. I don't know what's in the sausage. They said it was Italian, but I would hate to think they put actual Italians in the sausage. But anyway, it's giving me the worst indigestion. I just thought I would share that. Been inside an old Mason building here in town, Walter Langston says. Wild setup. Here's the thing. That's what I'm wanting to know. There are not a lot of windows in those buildings. I don't know what goes on in there. I don't know if they have a big crystal in there and they're all chanting. I don't know if it's like Scientology, which I was going to put a big Scientology thing up here. I just ran out of time. Like how do you do a Scientology Christmas? Listen, all I'm saying is if you want to get into real estate, Scientology is the way to go. Now, I don't know if they've got a deal worked out with the Masons. They should. That seems like natural synergy right there between the Masons and Scientologists. Like if they got together, they could high five each other, shake hands, and man, they would be in business. Except you can leave the Masons, I guess. I'm saying you can leave the Masons. I'm sure it's easy to get your membership back. I was just disappointed in the Masons, though, because I think Shane, somebody was telling me that they have a TikTok channel or something. I remember when the Masons, you had to ask a Mason to be a Mason. They had a bumper sticker, It was just differently. Only Germany I ever went was Helen, Georgia. And let's just be honest. You may love Helen, and if you do, good for you. I certainly don't mean this bad towards you or the locals there at Helen. But you can have it. I am not a Helen, Georgia fan. And here's why. You're not really in the mountains or in Germany there. That's just my opinion. I'm just not a big Helen fan. I guess it's if you're a big beer drinker, I guess, or something, and I'm not, so I don't get it. But it's not, it doesn't really have a Bavarian vibe. It's neither does Gatlinburg, though. Listen, neither does Gatlinburg. It's just a little different. Yeah, the Masons do make good jars. I don't want to take anything away from all of their work over the years. They do make the best jars. The last time I had a Mason jar, actually we have some in the cabinet now, and I never even thought about that before the show, or I'd have had one on the screen or behind me or something, because I don't want to take anything away from them. To know is to ask one. Well, see, here's the thing. I've known a lot of Masons, but they're goofy about it. When I ask them about being a Mason, they want to start talking about the world order and some aliens, and they get into flat Earth. I don't know. It's just this weird thing. And I can't get into the flat Earth. I don't know, because again, it's a conspiracy night. That's what we're doing tonight. It's Conspiracy Saturday, and I can't, for the life of me, get into a conspiracy that the Earth is flat, and we've been hiding this for like 3,000 years or something, or 4. And we've known the Earth is round since about 3000 BC. Columbus did not prove the Earth was round. I don't know who started that garbage, but I mean, they even said that in school. It's just not true. We've known that a long time. I don't understand who started that rumor. But like, if you're a flat Earth person, I just want to say, let's get you some help. Go to my Facebook page, Bill Marion Life. Send me a message, and I'll send you to a shrink. It's okay. It's okay. Delusional Problems with being delusional, it happens. It happens. And, we'll get you some help. It's okay to believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I'm fine with that. If you want to believe in invisible creatures in the forest or in the lake, I don't care. It happens to the best of us. But flat Earth, come on, people. You can do better than this. This is a public service announcement from A Nose for Life. In the spring, I walk across the Mason-Dixon line. Surely you could drive, though. I'm just saying it's spring. Might get a little shower or something, Drive. So anybody in here in the Masons, I'm asking, so if y'all are, this is your opportunity to say, hey, because it says, if you want to know is to ask one, or what did you just say? To know tis to ask one, or something like that. So Strong said it best. So I'm asking right now, if any of you guys are in Mason, you need to come on, put up or shut up. Let's see a Mason symbol there in the comments or something. Strong says the flat Earth thing started with a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I reckon it did, and the physics too. If you get your physics from a Bugs Bunny cartoon, man, that's wild. That'd be wild. I bet the Coyote wishes he had better physics. Coyote and Roadrunner, let me be honest with you. I used to hate that cartoon as a kid because I didn't get it. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't understand all the here's what the way, from my perspective with the Coyote and Roadrunner, I just wanted the Roadrunner to die one time. I just wanted the Coyote just to be able to choke his neck and to see the Roadrunner's tongue coming out and the caption underneath the Coyote to say something like, beep, beep, ? Something like that. Yeah, that'd have been awesome. But there's probably conspiracy behind Acme. Coyote keeps ordering the stuff from Acme. It never works, aka China. Let's see. Can we come up with an acronym for that? Another Chinese embarrassment. Johnny, get it? No? Okay. Flat Earth thing started with Bugs Bunny. It probably did. But where did the Masons start? I'm not getting away from that tonight. We're going to talk about that and the Nutcracker conspiracy that I have not written yet. We need a conspiracy for the Nutcracker. Look at it. Isn't that cool looking? That is the Nutcracker Mom has in her front porch. It lights up. I don't know where she got it. Probably Walmart. And it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things in the world because you look at it, it just looks Christmassy, but also intimidating. Any minute it's going to walk off its little pedestal. Walter Langston said, never got the Roadrunner. No, he didn't. Acme, it is owned by the Roadrunners. See? So the Roadrunner is Chinese. I knew it. That's okay. Listen, I wish him well. I have no problem with anybody. I'm telling you, man, that sandwich really got me earlier. It got me. I have no problem with anybody who is pulling, who wants to be a Mason, who, hey, you want secrets? I got secrets. You want to know how the world was built? We'll talk. But I want to know what the Masons offer me. If I join the Masons, do I get dental? Do I get health insurance? Do I get the ring free? Or do I have to pay for that? Rings are cool. And if I get the ring, is it one ring to rule them all kind of thing? Is it Lord of the Rings kind of thing? I don't know. I just want to know. Todd says King Solomon's temple is where they say it started. Well, okay, but it's not. Masons aren't in the Bible. They're not. I looked because I didn't really want to ask a Mason at the time, so I looked. And that's really where I'm going with this whole thing. I've got a message here. Okay. All right, good. Got a text from a long-lost brother of mine who, he is in the secret Illuminatus, and he's like, be quiet, they're listening. And I was like, okay. But I'm not going to. We're going to go there. I think I'm going back here in time. I'm going back here because I missed somebody. I'm looking. We're walking. By the way, if you just tuned in, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And this is Conspiracy Night, where we are going to cover every conspiracy that we can think of. Probably not. We probably won't get past eating elf and Ewok for Christmas because that is that's what's in right now. So we're exchanging recipes. So you got here at the right time to talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about the Masons and Christmas. And I keep getting told, if you want to know about them, talk about them. So, or ask him. That's what it is. Ask about him. Todd, did you say that you were a Mason? Did I read that right? Todd's a Mason. Okay. Todd, fill us in, man. What is the secret here? Because nobody knows which Todd. Nobody's going to out you on this channel. I don't think. Actually, they might. I don't know. Because we're talking about eating the elf and Ewok here. So it's untelling. But tell us about being a Mason. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your family? And is there health care provided? That's what we're wanting to know. In the video, I guess we're referring to the Masons. They say it started in the 1700s. Yeah, that's what the brochure, that's what the literature says. That's what it says. Big Frog says Masons guard the Holy Grail. Man, I'm hoping so. Somebody needs to guard it. Somebody needs to guard that thing before the Kardashians get it. Big Frog Barbecue says, Dave references, we're walking. Todd says, it was in order to work. It was in order to work on the other lands. They had to prove they were Masons and share the secret stuff. Oh, okay. All right. That's getting better. But what are they doing for me now? What can I do? What do I got to do to be a Mason? I mean, is it, again, I don't want to pay for anything. I can get that same deal with Scientologists. I can call Tom Cruise today or L. Ron Hubbard's ghost. I can call him and I'll be like, dude, I want in. I want whatever Tom Cruise is having. And you know what? They'll hook me right up. I'm a part of their Illuminatus, or I would be their Illuminatus. There are Masonic symbols here in the oldest church at St. Augustine. I know I've actually preached about that before. The Jesus in a box thing. That's not a Mason symbol, but we've talked. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Strong's Adventure says, I don't know, but the Masons are in with the Shriners, and the Shriners are awesome for kids. Well, there you go. And they got the coolest cars. If you're a little think about this for a minute. If you're an elf, okay, I'm not trying to go there. I'm just saying, if you're an elf and you're in the neighborhood for a car, I'm calling the Shriners. Like, I mean, seriously. Now the hats, come on. Or is that Alhambra? I get all these guys confused. I know they're all connected. After all, it's Illuminati. Everybody's connected in the Illuminati. So there's that. And if you're going to be connected, you might as well be connected with the funny hat and car people. Big Frog Barbecue says, the Masons have the Ark of the Covenant. Is that the Masons? They have the Ark of the Covenant? Or I thought, because I hear different things. I've heard the Ethiopians, they have it there. I know why. I know why they say they do. They say they have the Ark of the Covenant. The Masons, just all kinds of people have had the Ark of the Covenant, according to myth. I have a friend that was a Mason, but he cannot tell me what he knows, so I don't ask. Give me his number, Walter, and I will ask. I will ask him to be on the show. I want a 33rd degree Mason to be on the show, and we can interview he or she. I don't know. Are they enlightened? If they're truly enlightened, then it's not going to be a boys club, right? That's right. A little affirmative action going on in there. Dad has been in it for 30 years. He's as high as the Grand Lodge of Virginia. Man, he's a son of Virginia. And still does not have all this money or stuff. Todd's like, I can't catch a break. My dad's a 33rd degree Mason and we're broke. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. That'd be my luck. Be like, got all the trophies and whatever, plaques, you know, all the stuff we've done. Like Billy was saying, Strong's Adventures was saying that, you know, they do, the Shriners do good work for hospital, for kids and stuff like that. All these things, you're broke. You have secrets, but you can't tell. But it's not made you a single dime. It's not helped you or your family at all. That'd be my luck. That'd be my luck. There are 20 different Masonic orders. Well, it's not as big as McDonald's menu, but, you know, I mean, McDonald's is the Golden Arches. I mean, they've got their own group. Ray Stevens sung a song about the Shriners. It's worth a listen. Okay. Me Now, 2416, said Richie's dad on Happy Days was the Grand Poobah. Do you remember that? I remember that. He's the Grand Poobah. The Grand Poobah. I would love to be a fly on the wall, just to fly on the wall in the Masonic Lodge when they're having some kind of meeting, talking about flat Earth or whatever they do, and just being there and just see what goes on. It's probably nothing. I mean, I can't imagine some of the places we've been. Let's take Jellicoe, up Jellicoe Mountain here in East Tennessee, middle of nowhere, unless you're on I-75. Like if you want to call being near an interstate something. And I can't imagine going into, the local Masonic Lodge there, which is quite nice on the outside, actually. Carol and I pass it every now and then, YouTubing or whatever, and we're just always really impressed. And I think I have offended everybody. We had like up to 10 people just a minute ago, and it's like dropped all of a sudden. I'll have to check the stats with whatever was said that caused everybody to sign out. That's funny. Richie's dad on Happy Days was a grand poobah. I want to be a grand poobah. That's right. I don't know if you get a belt or if you have to pay like a certain fee for that. Everything's going to cost you money. It's all based on, tiers. Again, like I said, Scientology, Masons. Let's think of a group. I'm going to call them the Nutcrackers. Is there a Latin for Nutcrackers? Shane's our resident. I don't know if Shane's in here still, but whether it's me now, maybe somebody that's had Latin can give us a Latin for a Nutcracker order, and we can start our own secret society tonight. I don't know really what we would do. Big Frog Barbecue says, well, they probably share elf and Ewok recipes in their meetings. Listen, man, they probably have elf and Ewok at their meetings. I'm just saying, if you're a Mason and you have that kind of access to the North Pole, there's a reason I put the Masonic symbol there on top of the tree. There's a reason. It's Christmas, Masons. Don't you see the connection? Flat Earth. Come on, Okay, second question. And I just want to show of hands. I just want you to be, because to my knowledge, we're all men in here tonight. And if we're not all men, listen, women can answer this too. My question is, hold on a minute. We got another text here. No, I'm not watching the JMU game. That's my dad. He's a sweet guy though. No. So how many of you, so Todd was honest about being a Mason, and I appreciate that, Todd, because you know what? That could expose you to ridicule, torture. I don't know. It could expose you. But how many of you in here believe in a flat earth? I'm just curious. Todd says, for me, it's been a lot of good people getting together and fellowshipping and helping people out if they can. I have never seen any of the things that they say about them, but we're in a small town. Well, and that's always been my argument to leave the poor Masons alone. Like, if you're in a small town, because that's 99% of the Masons are small town. You got your brick and mortar building somewhere in town there where there are no windows, and then a small Masonic lodge sign. West Virginia, I saw bunches and bunches of them. Virginia too, especially in rural Virginia, and all of West Virginia is rural, but in Virginia it was a big deal. And actually, lodges are a big deal in Virginia, period. Like the Moose Lodge and the Elk Lodge. And if you can think of an animal, there's a lodge for it in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And Carol and I got a kick out of it because half of our church belonged to the elk and moose. And so I would bite my tongue to keep from just joking around about it. It's just so, I don't know. You think about it. That was a big deal before then. Something happened in I guess after the JFK assassination, where everybody was like, maybe lodges are a bad idea. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not, it's just one of those things. But most lodges, I would say that's all it is, Todd, is just people getting together and enjoying just being men and just doing charitable work and just being together and hanging out. Hey, and every now and then they get together and have, I don't know, they have roasted elf lodge. No, I said elk, but I'm thinking if you're going to talk about culinary stuff all the time, it would be the elf lodge, right? Strong's. Here's the thing. Whoa. You just made me think of something though, Big Frog, is that it's possible that our Generation X, and not just Generation X, but Generation X primarily, maybe the cutoff, maybe it started with boomers, but Generation X for sure. I think that our cultish tie-in goes with movies, like Star Wars conventions and Star Trek conventions and that kind of stuff. Isn't that kind of the same thing, except without the good works and deeds? I mean, it's bad, but I'm just saying, it's like one thing. You got all the kids with the Star Wars, the Comic-Con, and the Spider-Man, and the MCU, and all this stuff, and it's huge. Let's be honest. Even though movies kind of stink right now, but the getting together to role play and all this kind of stuff, it reminds me, without the charity stuff, of the. Am I going up? Is that too far out on a limb? Maybe it is. I don't know. So they get together and they talk about Walter Langston said, and talk about top secret stuff. Yeah, because you never know. I mean, here's the thing: if you're in a secret society, whether it's Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or the Masons, there's probably some, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and it's going to help you get a job, probably. Right? You ask somebody how far they are in their journey, and then they give you the response. I've done my homework. I know a thing or two. I just want to know what I'm getting out of it. You know what I'm saying? I just want to know if we've got benefits with it. We got health insurance. Is there a 401k involved? Because if I'm going to give my allegiance to an order, there's got to be something coming back. And don't tell me the good works, good deeds pay for them, whatever. Nah, no. What's in it for me? What do I get out of being a part of this secret society? Because I'm keeping your secret. Remember that. I'm doing you a favor. No? All right. We'll talk about it. We'll work it. We got some time. We've got time. We got 30 minutes left. Come on, people. Everything I know you can find on the internet. Todd's getting real. Todd's like, Todd, I'm beginning to feel your resentment coming through. Like, come to think of it, I don't know anything about this group. I feel you, man. That would be me. If I were in, it'd be like everybody would know the secrets. It really would be like all the secrets of the known universe or whatever. Everybody knows it in the room, but me. I was left out. Like, don't tell Bill. Don't tell Bill. He's going to get on his YouTube channel and talk about it. Shh, don't tell him. Yeah. So everybody's walking around. We know the world's going to end in 8 hours. All but Bill, who just bought that house. Yeah. Most things today, you can go to the internet and find out somehow or another. And, that's just the way it is. That's how I found out the earth wasn't flat. What about that? I'm going to go back there. I'm sorry. I was recently talking to a friend about the flat earth, the fictional tale of the flat earth, and could not get my head around why people would believe that. Now, this came out, I think I said this on the channel before, about 2012, 2013, and in talking to a friend of mine, he was saying the same thing, that it just snuck up online, and it's hard for me to believe. Now, here's a conspiracy, that was an accident. I'm convinced it was some type of an op. My friend is, who I've known a long time, has said the same thing, that it was some type of an op, and can't prove it. Let me know what you think, because I can't believe anybody in a sane mind would actually think that. It's too easy to prove. If you are needing help proving to yourself that the earth is not flat, maybe you've gone down the rabbit hole, I can help you. Just let me know. Bill, Marion Life. Send me a message. I'll give you 3 experiments to at home that will prove that the earth is round. And we've been doing that experiment now for thousands of years. So it's pretty much there. Bill, are you going to pledge your allegiance to the empire? I guess you need to talk to Dolores and HR, buddy. Dolores is the one with an attitude, though. She really intimidates me. Mr. Marion, are you back today? Can you wipe your feet, please? Dolores is so hateful. She comes across that way. I don't know. Everybody knows Dolores, right? Everybody's worked with a Dolores. For some reason, she makes like $8 an hour, and she thinks she runs the company, because she does. The CEO's out drunk all the time with his mistress, and Dolores runs the company. She does. Runs it right into the ground, and everybody knows it. But, buddy, if she goes to the boss about you, you're gone, because Dolores keeps her mouth shut. Am I right? That's Dolores. We all know Dolores. We know her. We've worked. We would say we worked with Dolores, but no, we've worked for Dolores. Dolores run the world. The plural of Dolores should be Dolorsi, Latin, in case you're wondering. LOK, her up. Low. I don't know what LOK means, or is that a typo? Her up on YouTube. If you pledge your allegiance to oh my goodness, is it one of those Star Wars spoof things? Like, okay, I may have seen that one. Those are really good. Man, there's some good stuff. that's on YouTube that's funny, especially for Generation X-ish people. And I think I'm going to sneeze again in a minute. I would say I would edit this out during the replay, but I haven't even been re-uploading. You know how you can turn them, you like download it and then load increments, but I haven't been doing that because it would just be, yeah, that's some good sneezing. I apologize for sneezing in the microphone, guys. My bad. I think it's an allergy, but I'm not sure. If the Earth was flat, how can you fly around the world in 30 days? Well, Walter, what they say is you can't, and that every pilot known to man is a part of the conspiracy. That's why we don't fly over the North Pole, is because there's a big hole there, because the Earth is hollow and the moon is hollow. Right. I don't know. Personally, if I'm going to believe in a conspiracy, it's going to be something good. It's going to be something good where, yeah, aliens are involved and giant Bigfoot, big feet, big footsies, whatever. There's a sweetheart of a lady at church. She watches our videos. And again, I don't promote my stuff at church. I don't promote my stuff. When I was lead pastor in Virginia, I never really talked about YouTube. I did with friends, but not, in church or whatever. And of course, I don't do that here. But she just happened to run across a video, and I'm like talking about Bigfoot on one of our videos, as I do, because he's everywhere in all over the U.S. as far as the, whatever you want to call it, the love affair with Bigfoot. And she is convinced I'm on the hunt, but she's a sweetheart. She's an older lady, and she's just all into Bigfoot, and it's precious to me. I had a friend of mine years ago who just loved the television show. I think it came on Discovery or Animal Planet or something. It was like a Bigfoot show. And Matt Sieber, who was on the channel, we actually interviewed him. He's from Spring City. I think it was my first year of YouTubing. He was kind enough to do an interview. He was on that show. And I was like, I didn't know him. All I saw was East Tennessee Bigfoot, and I saw that he was in Spring City. I'm like, I was desperate for content, didn't know what I was doing, not that I do now. And I gave him a call, and I said, Mr. Sieber, I'd like to interview you. And he did. It was great. He used to come on the podcast, but over 2020 and stuff, we just kind of lost touch with each other. But I bought his book, and his book is great. If I haven't said that to you before, I need to put that on the links here at some point. Guys, you need to stay with me through December, through I will say New Year's Eve, our last live stream of the Vlogmas, because I'm going to do a thing where we put up links, or at least put it in the description, just links to different people in here, to their channels where you can connect with them and do it right, to where, because this is a great community. I mean, the people that have just been in and out casually, it's just been a lot of fun. So yeah, it says, if the Earth was flat, how can you fly around the world in 30 days? And Billy Strong's Adventure said, we took a train. Choo choo. Walter, you should know. You walked right in it. That was great. He says, been to the North Pole a few times to pick up elf meat. You got to do what you got to do, man. I'm telling you. See, if you could fly, if the Earth wasn't flat, you could fly to the North Pole cheaper or something. I don't know. Big Frog says, I once asked an online flat earther group, why? I'm going to stop right there. Why? You can't talk to those people. I once asked an online flat earther group why it only takes a few hours to fly from Australia to South America, but according to them, the fastest way was to fly over California. They thought they banned me. Of course they did. Logic will get you. You cannot. My buddy said this the other day, or today, and it's true, and it's because he had a flat earther friend that just wasn't, whatever, just an issue. I don't know, but that you can't convince them. Like, if you say it's this, and let me show you this experiment, let me show you this, and this is how it's going to prove, they'll just go to something else. Like, oh yeah, but what about this? And you're like, no. Let's stay with this. Let's stay with shadows and how this would not be possible on a flat Earth. Here's the thing: the moon landing conspiracy. Let's jump conspiracies just quickly, because I said we're going to cover a lot of them. Somehow they all connect. It's like the Illuminati. It's like the Masons. They all connect. People, the Shriners, the Elf, Ewoks. It all connects. But if you look at, I don't know, the moon landing. There are elements of NASA that they're conspiratorial. by nature, because you're dealing with top secrets. You're dealing with the Cold War, where there was lots of propaganda. I'm convinced that some of the space race entirely has been myth, but not in the way that somebody would say would fake the moon landing, more in the way of saying covering up what we're really doing up there, as opposed to covering up the fact that we've been up there or been to the moon. But there's no doubt that there's some shenanigery going on. Shenanigery? How do you say that shit? Shenana bing bong. I don't know. But there's probably some junk going on, surely. But to say that we didn't go at all, yeah, that's just a tough one. It's like I'm going to go, yeah, we did. We got a laser there. It's really easy to figure that one out too. But I won't go as far as to call somebody like that delusional, because a lot of people that don't believe in the moon landing, they do believe in GPS. They do believe, well, some do. I've heard some people say they'll blame the GPS thing. They'll say, well, you'll say, explain GPS. And they'll say, yeah, they're using, radio transmissions or whatever. Okay. Those people, I don't have a lot of time for. Even though that's true to an extent. Like your cell phones are using towers for the most part. But most people that believe in a moon landing conspiracy, they will still believe in like the space race and space exploration. They just don't know that we went to the moon when we went to the moon. And they just kind of, it's like, I want to go, I don't see how that's possible, and I don't agree, and I think the facts are way stacked against you. But okay, that's fine, because we did have an ulterior motive, and at the smallest point, it could have been faked. If you ever watched the interview that they did with the Apollo 11 astronauts right after they got back, it is freaky. I admit, and I believe in the moon landing. I believe all of the moon landing stuff. I do. But it is, you watch that and you're like, oh gosh, they're lying about something. They are. It's just strange. But do I think they're lying about going? Nah, I don't think so. Strong's Adventure says to Walter Langston, ha! That is what the Polar Express does when they aren't giving kids cocoa. They go to the North Pole and they get Elf. You guys didn't jump in the moon landing conspiracy stuff. I'm surprised. I mean, that one's a big one. And it used to make me mad, but it's not my job to defend NASA. It's not. It's not my job to defend NASA. It's not my job to prove the moon landing. It is my job as a citizen of this country and this world to look at a fool and say, no, the earth is not flat. You moron. Even though still, I'm not going to try to convince somebody that, because they're delusional. There's something wrong with them. Now, if you believe the earth's flat, because I noticed that our viewer count went down, and, listen, if you believe in it's flat, if you believe any of that, okay. Again, go to my Facebook page, Bill Marion Life. Send me a message, say, Bill, prove to me that the earth is not flat, and I will. I'll try. I'll meet you halfway around the world. Around. I still can't think of a conspiracy theory about nutcrackers, though. I can't. I've got nothing. I just like the way that looked on the screen. And then behind me, you can't see it real good. I probably didn't make this one as good as I made some of the other ones, some of the other classics. But that's Devil's Tower in Wyoming. And another conspiracy theory that I've been to Devil's Tower in Wyoming. It's actually there's a KOA, or used to be a KOA at the bottom of it. And I'm pretty sure it's still there. I'm just not sure if it's a KOA anymore. But I've stayed there twice. And that was when I was traveling with mom and dad. And it's a nice campground. It has a swimming pool and all that. When you're a kid, that was everything. But Devil's Tower is one of those kind of, it had free HBO. And back in the early 80s, that was a big deal. And so it was a great place that we stayed at. And we stayed there and got to hike around Devil's Tower and just got to appreciate this crazy looking thing in the middle of the prairie, the plains, whatever you want to call it. And there's nothing like it around there, but there are people that say that is a giant tree. Now, I'm sure I've been to petrified forest too in Arizona. I've seen petrified wood. That is not petrified wood. It's obviously remnants from lava. I think there's a name for it. It's not actually like lava like you would find at a normal volcano where the volcanoes got extinct, but there's lava rock everywhere. This doesn't look like that. It doesn't feel like that in texture either. But there's a reason why it doesn't. And it is remarkable to me. I get it. It looks like a tree stump. I get it. But put some context clues, people, together with it. So I can't buy into that conspiracy either. I would much rather believe that Masons run the world. I would much rather believe that that's a conspiracy theory that I can sink my teeth into, and I can blame them for all my misfortunes. Okay? So Todd, you're in there because you're in the group. So I'm blaming you. Anything that happens to this country, we can blame the Masons, because why not? Because they won't let me in their group. I'm not good enough. Just kidding. They just don't give enough. Flat earthers believe the moon is round and all the other planets but Earth is flat. Yeah, they're special. I know. It's like, Todd, you look up in the universe, everything that surrounds us, even though I get it, they don't even think that the stars are actual stars. I think I forget what they said. It's like a big sheet around us, and there's like holes that are poked in the, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, they're crazy. But everything's round up there. Billy Strong's Adventure says, been there and done that. Yep, back in the 80s was a KOA. You've been there. Okay. And it's a nice KOA. It's a really nice KOA. At least it was back then. And nice, clean pool. And it was one of those places where we got in, it's packed. It was packed. If you're there in the on season, it is packed. And so there's always a buzz to campgrounds that started in the 80s. I'm sure it was probably like that in the 70s too, but in the 80s is when kind of RVs came into their own. They got really nice. We had a 36-foot Mallard at one point. That's for Strong's Adventures. He's the trailer guy. He pulls a trailer. He's big into that. And Carol and I have talked about it for years, taking the channel that direction, just because we travel so much. But I tried to explain to her, I said, I grew up that way. I said, they're a hassle. Like, it's a big deal. You're pulling around your house. I said, it's a big deal. Anyway, so it was a nice KOA there at the foot of Devil's Tower, and a storm rolled in one night. It was just like Close Encounters. If you've never seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I recommend it. It is a great, entertaining movie. It's odd. It's definitely ahead of its time, way ahead of its time. Came out the same year of Star Wars, and you would never know it because it feels like it's an earlier movie, but it's a great movie. And it's the end of Close Encounters is filmed there at Devil's Tower. And you could argue that Devil's Tower is almost central to the storyline, a main character in the story. And I've noticed this. I'm not the first to say this. You're watching a good movie and a location is half the storyline. It usually means the movie's interesting. I'm just saying. Walter Layson said, there is a group that thinks the Titanic never sank. That's right. They think that it was the other ship. That's one of the conspiracies. They claim that it had something to do with the Federal Reserve and Carnegie and all that jazz. Okay. Here's the thing. Stranger Things, not the show on Netflix, but Stranger Things have happened. That's the kind of conspiracy that's not going to surprise me. But it doesn't mean I'm going to believe it. It won't surprise me, but it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, I got to see more documentation and confessions on beds and stuff like that. I can't buy it right out of the box. It was definitely talked about during the time period, but here's the problem with that. Is Carnegie and the rest of them, you're talking about the Gilded Age here. We're coming out of the Gilded Age at that point. People hated rich people, the creme de la creme, like they do now. And so they would spin tales a lot of times, anything to exaggerate the truth. And the truth is that the Federal Reserve, listen, I'm not trying to bash the Federal Reserve. Print all the money you can. Get it while you can, whatever. But let's just be honest. Go to the Federal Reserve website and read their story about themselves. It's not a conspiracy. It's history. But when they went to create the Federal Reserve, it was a conspiracy. Just read what they say about it. And it's good stuff. Matter of fact, or you could just watch my video about it, which was shadow banned after 26,000 views. But you could watch my video that I made at Jekyll Island. And if they'll even let you access it anymore. If not, tell me, and I'll put a link up here, in one of these live streams. But it got up to 26,000 views and just stopped, and heck of a watch time on that video. And it's just like it just disappeared or whatever. It just no more access. Anyway, it's an older video. It's fine. The commercial value on it's not that great either. So for all the watch time, there's very few ads run on that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. These people, Strong's Adventure says, these people watch too much Jim Carrey in The Truman Show. You know what? I was just talking to Carolyn the other day. My favorite Grinch story has to be Jim Carrey. And his version of the Grinch is got to be the best. I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan, but I do, you know, like everybody else our age, I watched his movies. And The Truman Show is excellent. It's a great movie, way ahead of its time. It's before the influencer time and all that stuff. And yet, that's the vibe it gives. It's just good stuff. Walter Langston says, it's a good movie, but a weird movie. Yeah, it is a good movie. It is a weird movie. I would say that. The Titanic, speaking of which, the Titanic is a great movie. Titanic is awesome as far as spectacle and, you know, history. What is it, biopic or is it a biopic? It's of a ship. What would that be? A historic? It's a history piece. You know what I'm saying? It's a history piece. So it's good. The thing is when it comes to conspiracies, there's several ways to look at it. You could look at it and shake your head and go, I don't know. Or you can sit around and let it torture you, which I've done with some things, okay? There are conspiracies out there, guys. There are conspiracies out there. And I'm not saying that we've not talked about some of them. They might be. But there are some things you can hang your hat on, you know? Right? You can hang your... Look, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know of a Nutcracker conspiracy. I don't have one. But I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. I believe you can hang your hat on that. That he was born of a virgin. That they killed him for nothing. They hung him on a cross. They buried him. 3 days later, he rose again. You can take that to the bank. You can believe that, and it is true. But there's a lot of things out there that I don't know. At the end of the day, you don't know. I say, oh, we've been to the moon. I've not been to the moon, so it's not like I can go, yeah, they landed right there. Well, maybe. I hope. I guess I hope. And then you're thinking, why am I hoping that we went to the moon? Maybe we didn't. Maybe it's a bad thing. I've always thought, I love the conspiracy. It's on YouTube somewhere, where they land on the moon, and they get there, and there's aliens there and warn them off. And that's why we didn't go back to the moon for so long. I love that conspiracy. That was fun. It's fun. Make a movie of that. That would be great. Walter Langston said, it's a good movie, but weird movie. And then he said, did you know that the Titanic swimming pool is still full of water? I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's still full of water. And you know, somebody, probably Dolores, is in the boat, and they're rescuing Dolores, and she's already griping for her money back. You know what I mean? She's already griping for her money back. She's already complaining, because I've known Dolores a long time. She's wanting her money back. As the ship's going down, she's complaining about her luggage. I don't know. I guarantee you put Carolyn and myself, we're on the Titanic. We somehow or another, they're like, let all the women and children off. And they're, you know, the women and children are getting off. And they're like, and short, fat, bald diabetics. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and so I get to get on the boat with Carolyn. And so we're driving up. Carolyn's making the list of every single thing that we're missing that the ship company is going to have to reimburse us. I mean, she's going to give them an earful. I promise you that. Strong's Adventure said, we were stupid and signed a waiver to go past Boulder Field and climb. We were like 14 or 15. We actually got about a third of the way up when the guys stated to pass us when guys started to pass us with climbing gear. Dude, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Big Frog says, isn't there a new Titanic? I don't know. I don't know ships. Like, I don't know ships at all. So maybe there is. I don't know. Walter Langston said, they say Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon. So who took his photo? Well, that's what they say. And here's the thing. They set the camera up If you get the Blu-ray version where Neil Armstrong is narrating, he shows himself. I mean, it's it's in the director's cut. It's in the director's cut. It's there. It's there. Is when we needed to go down. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're going back to the thing. When the guys started to pass us with the climbing gears, when we needed to go down. I'm telling you, that would have probably been the chance of a lifetime too. It would have been awesome. We didn't get to go up, but it's one of those things where my dad even kicks himself now, going, "Why didn't we do that? That would have been awesome." Yeah, check out if you're really into the moon conspiracy, there's a lot of places to go to get good information. I don't have permission to post one link, so I'll have to get permission first. But there's actually an influencer, a NASA influencer. I know, but she's worked at NASA. You guys might have her on here. She's had a YouTube channel for a long time. I'm a huge fan. And she used to, back in the day, 10 years ago, she came out, she was a little snotty, like when she would approach things, but she was kind of humbled. Long story. She's got a very interesting story, but she was kind of humbled. And the way she approaches things about conspiracies and the moon and stuff like that is just better now. It's just better. It's with a little more humility, understanding that there's a reason why people don't believe stuff about the moon. Very, very good reasons. And so she approaches things as opposed to, "Are you stupid?" like I do with Flat Earth. Okay. Instead of doing it that way, she gives examples. Like, she just basically says, "Okay, you're saying this is the reason why you don't believe it. Let me show you why this happens." And I wish Rogan would have her on, but I actually have a connection with her. So I might ask if I could just post a link. I could post a link anyway, but it's the polite thing to do. Yeah, so there you go. There's some seriousness on there. So there's Devil's Tower back there. And there's a lot. There are some conspiracies about the South Pole that I would tend to believe. I don't have any reason to believe them. I think there's more down there than we've let on. I think there's a lot more down there. I think there's a lot more to the core samples or whatever they're called that they took, where they talked about there was trees there. There were trees there at one time, and how it had a jungle-like climate, or at least a forested climate. I think there's a lot more to those studies. At any given time, there's 150 people down there. A pope has visited both the Eastern Orthodox Church, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that could have turned out to be a conspiracy, but the last time I talked about this, that popped up. There's the Pope from Eastern Orthodox and the Catholic Church has gone. Like, why? If you're the Pope, is that on your bucket list? I'm like, I didn't get that. That was strange. So things like that, I'm going, wow, go figure or whatever. So there's some conspiracy there. There's also some stuff about uninhabited, unexplored islands that are still out there on the earth. I'm believing that one. That we haven't covered everything on the planet. There are tens of thousands of islands all over the oceans that we haven't explored, and who knows what could be there. There's a thing called the pyramid theory that's being developed right now by the Graham Hancock types. So yeah, before the flood, it was tropical. I think it was too. But again, I can only speculate about that. I can't hang my hat on it. I can't say, okay, definitely it was. I can't. I can just say I think so. I'm pretty. That would make sense to me. It would make sense that before the flood, the entire Earth was going to is warmer than it is, and probably the air masses were more stable. Maybe that would make sense to me. And how many of you guys that are still watching? How many of you guys, Graham Hancock? You guys like any of this stuff? I like his stuff. He's out there. I don't like how. I resent the fact of the quote establishment that they get onto him a lot for how they don't like to let him talk at all. And they immediately just start bashing some of his ideas. To me, he's just riffing. But I'm not going to take him less serious than I do some of the other guys. It's like, no, I don't think he's any less, valid or whatever. It's just me. Come on. I'm just on YouTube. What do I know? I don't know anything. Isn't that what Rogan and them say? They're like, what do I know? I'm just a comedian, which is such a cop-out. Love Joe's heart. Bless his heart. He's barely making it, people. We got to help Joe out. He's got to, we got to help his channel. He's struggling for views. Yeah, I think it was tropical. I think the entire world probably looked different. I don't buy a lot of the stuff that we'll call it mainstream, because that's the I think that at any given time, when you take a snapshot of what mainstream science, mainstream anything, you're going to get a lot of guessing, because that's where, even with the scientific method, you're the person who coined Pangea and came up with that. They laughed him out of science, and he died in disgrace. And now Pangea is accepted as fact. Whether you agree or I agree or whoever, the point is that it's accepted as scientific fact now. And I'm no more convinced that it's scientific fact now than when it was introduced as a fringe belief. But it's funny, because if you talk to Grok or any of these AI stuff about, anything in geology, they're going to point back to the origami uplift, following Pangea, or which one, all this stuff. And you're going, oh, okay, we're doing that now. And then 10 years, it'll be something else. Billy says, I don't know anything about anything, but I am sure that the globe was warmer at one point. Yeah. It had to have been. I mean, I think that's a given. I'll leave you with this conspiracy that people laugh at me until they do some reading. And look, I want you to laugh. That's why we're here, is to laugh, right? Or just at least, chuckle. Oil. Is it a natural resource that we have limited supply, or is it a renewable resource? I mean, in the ground. I don't mean, this isn't a trick question. I know what they say. Just saying. Just some weird stuff going on there. Just some weird stuff. There's a few scientists that got just disappeared for suggesting that geological forces may be responsible for oil more than it being fossils. And they came to that conclusion because they did this huge model of thinking about all the, because fossil fuels are not talking about dinosaurs. They're talking about plant life and plant matter that's being compressed in over tens of billions and millions of years. It turns into oil. And so they call it fossil fuels. And so the whole idea was, okay, how much would it take for the world to have used, how much plant life, plant matter, animal matter, just fossil fuels, how much would have to have grown to just get the oil that we have up to date, not what we would have ever. They were trying to think out of the box. Like, when do we know peak oil production is come and gone? And we should have run out like 30 years ago, based on some of their findings. They're gone. And that theory just disappeared. And that was out 20 years ago, 25 years, maybe 30 years ago. Geez. But it's like, it wasn't even a theory. It was just a thought. And they're gone. No. They're tapping oil wells they thought went dry and now have oil in them again. That's it. And if you watch Landman on Paramount, not sponsored, I got to admit, that's a guilty pleasure of mine. That show is hilarious, and you can learn a lot about oil. But yeah, they tap, oil wells that were bone dry and wait a few years and there's oil back. And they say it's because of underground tunnels. And okay, it might be. I don't know. Dinosaur farts or the cavemen cooking made brontosaurus burgers. Okay. Dinosaur farts or cavemen cooking. It could have been. It could have been. What do I know? I am just a YouTuber, just a lowly YouTuber with a Christmas tree with the, that somebody out there, there's a Mason out there, Todd, that has a tree topper with the Mason emblem. They're just diehard. They are totally in it. They've got the ring, the hat, the cummerbund, the belt buckle, and a bumper sticker that says, "Ask me if you want to know how to be a Mason." They've got all of that. The Masonic Bible is in their back seat. That was like my first interaction with a Mason. I was coaching football in Knox County, Kentucky. And this dude he's a coaching friend of ours. And I was in the back seat and we were going somewhere, and his Masonic Bible pamphlet, whatever, it was in the back seat. And I'm like, his name was Travis. And I said, "Travis, should this be like just laying out?" He goes, "Oh man, give that to me." And of course we didn't. We tortured him with it or whatever, because he was that kind of guy. And we tortured him, just started reading pages out. It was wrong. It was wrong. It was fun. Fun, yes. Well, on that note, I will see you tomorrow night. Got to get up early. And I will be here. You should be here. You should bring friends, your neighbors. You should all gather around. Instead of gathering around the fire, you should gather around your computer and take turns, like, commenting. Actually, no, you need to be signed in on several computers. That's what needs to happen. You need to sign in on several computers. So get the word out. Get on the radio, on the television, newspapers. Does anybody read the newspaper anymore? I don't even think I've held a newspaper in 20 years. I don't think so. Walter Langston said, have videos of some super long oil trains. Well, there you go. I mean, nobody's doubting there's, oil. But anyway, I digress. Walter, Todd, Billy, Big Frog, Randall, me now, all of you that have been here tonight, I'm sure I've missed somebody. Peace out, and I will see you tomorrow.